Now it's time for the starting five, the five biggest storylines this week in the world of women's basketball. Rebecca, start us off. This is something you brought to my attention that I'd seen in passing, but some interesting news on the forefront with the CBA negotiations looming in the W.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I will give a shout out to Justice Collins on TikTok. I love her content. She keeps it real 100% of the time, but she brought up that that Sid Colson, there we go, was back at Vegas. They did a tribute video to her. She was very emotional, obviously. A reporter came up to her and asked her, what was, what's it like being back? And she was like, it's great to be back, but there are more pressing things going on, and started reading a statement about the CBA, and in part says, I want to be clear that we remain committed to negotiating the next CBA with the league and the teams in good faith, and privately we do want to set the record straight, not for headlines, but for the fans who support us and deserve transparency about what's at stake. This is a defining moment for the league, and we're fighting for a fair share of the business that we built. And there's a long statement that they have basically given the all of the women in the league that they've been reciting, and that goes from Sophie Cunningham recited it to a reporter, and multiple others, Tip Hayes also, and there was also a note from Nneka Ogwumike, who is the president of the Players Association, who then said that their talks are on track, and she's hoping for some good talks when they're in Indy for the All-Star break. And what's interesting that Justice brought up was, why are they putting the statement out there? Is it because everything's not going the right way, but then Nneka's saying that they're on the right track? So it's just kind of interesting because especially for Sid, it's going to be like, there are more pressing things going on. But I think that they're trying to bring to light to everybody that maybe doesn't follow super close attention that these negotiations are going on. They have this huge disparity, obviously, that we know with salaries. It's not going to change overnight, or with probably the CBA, but these women deserve a bigger piece of the pie here than what they're getting.
Yeah, and obviously the WNBA All-Star Game about a month away. So maybe this is Nneka and the rest of the executive board of the WNBA Players Association saying, okay, it's time to, start upping the ante, and perhaps just dropping any hints whenever you can, and reminding people that this is something that's going to be voted on and that's going to have to be adopted here in the next, certainly discussed and voted on in a month, but also going to be put into effect here in the next year or so. And so, yeah, I think it's a calculated move. I think it's also interesting, and Mitch and I have discussed this on the pod, given the Seattle Storm of it all, which still also remains unresolved, exactly what is going on with Ogwumike's team and some of the allegations that have been brought about intimidation and bullying within that organization. So yeah, there's also that. So maybe Nneka was just like, hey fam, we got to get some good publicity out there, which I'm here for. You got to do that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's, everyone knows that it's growing and we see the numbers, but then it doesn't mean that automatically all these women are getting the money or getting, they're not making money off of their jerseys being sold. And they're not making the same amount of money that, Caitlin and Asia are making off of all their brand deals. But it's all these other women that, you may not think of as the star, but they're helping your team win, that also deserve to be paid fairly. So hopefully those negotiations do go well.